Well, hello, good evening and welcome. Potentially I'm live. YouTube's not telling me that I am, but Mike is telling me that I am. So if you are with me, let me know that I am. Otherwise, talking to myself. Come on, YouTube. Come on. Oh, it says
Yes,
live.
you're live.
I'm live. Well,
You're live.
It's lying to me then, isn't it? Marvellous. That's a good start to the evening, isn't it? Hello. As I said, hello. No, it's not. I think my laptop's poorly. Oh, no. My brand new laptop. Well, when I say brand new, 6 months. That's not the point. It's running that slow. It's unbelievable. But I can't see the chat. Mike can see the chat. So, chat. And then, hopefully, I'll be able to catch up at some point. But yes, apparently I'm live. My little counter's saying 0, though. So this could get really interesting. I suppose I could open it on another machine, but that'll probably cause complete logjam, won't it, Mike?
0.
Page is unresponsive. Would you like to wait? I suppose I should, shouldn't I? The whole machine's just... It's done this to me before. Basically, I think when the battery gets down to about 10%, it doesn't want to know. Now, the battery wouldn't be at 10%, would it? Well, no, if I'd charged it, it wouldn't. But I've left the machine sat there for 2 days for reasons I'll explain during the show. And it seems to have upset its little self. So now it's at 6% and very giddy with itself. But apparently it's broadcasting, so not all bad then. So, how is everybody? How the devil is everybody? Is anybody there? Because I can't see any chat whatsoever.
Roger's there.
Hello, Roger. Hello.
Charlie's there.
Hello, Charlie. And I've just about got a glass of water. That's water. That's ice in my water. We're suffering a heat wave. Yes, that's rather alarming, isn't it, in the UK in June? The last time we had a heat wave, it was February. And we could cope in February because it was a heat wave for Britain, which meant it was coolish. This, not so good. Not so good at all. Well, you should be seeing my poster. And if I got my slides lined up, you'd be seeing my slides. I have no confidence whatsoever that my slides are 100% correct, but we'll find that out as we go through. We do like a bit of a challenge, don't we? And we're going to get a bit of a challenge. But never mind. Right, so I'm going to let you see my desktop. So hopefully you will see that. If I press buttons and do magic, you will. So there's my blue desktop. And next thing you should see is back to where we were, which is a slide. You'll be glad to know that my YouTube page is now completely blank, so I can't see a thing. God, I love working blind, haven't you, Mike? Do you remember that night Connect went A over T, as we say? And I couldn't see anything. I couldn't stop the share, I couldn't start the share, couldn't do a thing. That's pretty much where I'm at now. So I'm going to leave you all in Mike's capable hands and he will pass things on to me. Let's do an audio check. How's my audio? Because that's been a calamity lately as well.
Sounds good to me.
Excellent. Right, can you hear yourself, Mike?
Can I hear myself? Mary had a little lamb. His fleece was white as snow.
Who says you don't get entertainment at a MacBites? You got Mike doing, what do you call it? Nursery rhymes for you. Can't say fairer than that. Yes, I'm seeing chat. I'm seeing chat. Not on my own machine, obviously. So anyway, let's get on with it. We've got to the week at
Yes,
MacBites
I can hear
headquarters.
myself.
Oh, I'm glad you can hear yourself, Mike. I can hear you. Eventually, I'm sure this machine that's dying a very sad and lonely death on my desktop will spring into life. Or not. But either way, I'm here, you're here, let's get on with it. Right, so we've got our week at MacBites headquarters. Been an interesting week, but no spoilers. Then we got a couple of freebies. Apparently the freebies went down well, so I've got a couple more freebies. Then there is a demo that I'm calling the Affinity Designer Bonus Ball. There is a reason for that. Oh, now it's telling me I've been going 5 seconds and the stream is good. I know it's lying. I've been going way more than 5 seconds, and whether the stream is good or not, we're stuck with it. Right, then we've got the iWork updates. I'm going to do it live. Nothing like Jeopardy in a demo. I've just realised I forgot something, Mike.
What did you forget?
I forgot to put something in the week at MacBites headquarters. I'm peeved about that now.
What would that be?
I'm saying nothing, but I might move on to that.
You could talk about it.
Then we've got vector maps. This was a real world thing that happened. One of those things you're convinced it'll be really simple, and then you start doing it, nightmare. Then we've got an unboxing because we've had an untimely demise at MacBites headquarters. But fear not, the replacement for said demise is here. And I've kept it for the unboxing. I can't say fairer than that. Now, is Graham with us?
He is.
Excellent, because we've got something especially for Graham at the end. Can't say any more. Dare not say any more, Graham.
He's already said how much is it going to cost him in the chat.
Well, Graham, that depends. It depends on whether it's something that you're going to visit the location and purchase. I'm not saying more than that. But not necessarily. If you're prepared to just lust after it, maybe not. But if you want it, there's the expensive way to get it and there's the less expensive way to get it. Let's leave it at that. And let's leave that till the end. Can't spoil it all. You're never going to guess what, Mike. YouTube's half loaded for me on this laptop. Oh. You know this laptop that cost the best part of a couple of grand, an arm and a leg and a kidney? Mm. Look at that. Look at that. It's been going since 2:15 and it's got the loading doodah on it. But that's as good as it gets. It'll get there in the end, just leave it to it. And now the clock's in the wrong place and everything else, so it's having a bit of a moment tonight. I think it could be because I've had a fan on the desk all day, keeping the kit cool. And now it's on the floor, because otherwise all you'd hear is fan noise. And it seems to be getting a little upset with its little self, but never mind that. Right, so the week at MacBites headquarters, well, the week started very early for me on a Saturday. I don't really like doing stuff on a Saturday, but on the Saturday, we went out. You see, this is two things, this. One, I like to lounge at the weekend. So that was the first thing. Second thing, I don't really, what shall we say? Like, approve, do. Yeah, not much walking involved, but we went on a history walk. It was actually really interesting. It was a local place called Brooklands, which is very close to where we live. And this is where we started. Yes, we know how to live, don't we? We went round the graveyard. Who's heard of Jules? Jules as in not Remy. That wasn't named after him, was it? Jules as in electrical units. Well, he was a local hero and he's buried in the cemetery there. We also have a pub called the JP Jewel. So that was where our walk started. We walked all the way round there. For interest, that photo was taken, I think that was with my iPhone. The next one wasn't, though. And the reason the next one wasn't taken with my iPhone, hopefully you'll appreciate, was I needed it closer. And it wasn't all dull, this history walk. Oh, no, no. Inventor of time travel lived here. Have a think about that. Well, that was high up on a wall above, was it a shop or a pub? I was blinded by the bridal shop trying to escape, so I didn't actually notice where it was above, but it was hugely high up on the wall. So I took that with my new camera. That's not edited in the slightest, hence the dots on it. But I was quite impressed with that, given it was blinding sun, blinding hot, and the very end of the walk. Talking of the very end of the walk, you're going to love this bit. I did, and I had to point it out to Mike. This, I think, well, it says late night burger bar and discotheque. Oh my word, 1970s called and wanted their words back. Never mind the bloke, just haven't had a chance to get rid of him yet. It's called the King Pong. So I looked at that and I thought of something. King Pong. Does it remind anybody of anything? Now, I had to point this out to mine, but I'm assuming the MacBiters are slightly more on the ball. It definitely reminded me of something. Something we've seen not too long ago. I wonder who's suing who. Yes. WWDC poster. King Pong. Poster. Pong. Yes. Once pointed out, Mike couldn't see anything but the WWDC poster, could you, Mike?
No.
Anyway, that was the end of our walk. We were hoping for a meal, but we didn't get a meal, so we headed straight home. Everybody laughing at me because I'm not really much of a tram user, am I, Mike?
No.
So I was having a debate whether we were in zone 3 or 4, don't ask, long story. But that I found and I loved it. Loved that. We love Manchester. It's got our Manchester Bee on it that came to the forefront after the bombing, and Alan Turing. So I loved that. We were at the end of the line, right down the bottom there, where it says Broadheath, Altrincham. We were at Altrincham. And we were trying to head back to Brooklands, weren't we? Which is behind the wheel of the bus. That's not exactly the best map I've ever seen, is it, Mike? Where we were heading to behind the bus. Never mind. So that was the weekend. Then there was Tuesday. What did we do on Tuesday? Oh, Tuesday was cancelled. I can explain why. Oh, yes. It was the start of our holiday, or as I like to call it, our busman's holiday. Who remembers this? That was my favourite programme when I was a kid. I absolutely adored it. I even had a bus conductor's clippy machine. Yes, on the buses. We do like our busman's holidays. So that basically meant more computing time. Yay! And that was sort of how the rest of the week went. We did manage, however, to escape on Wednesday, didn't we, Mike? And he's now frantically thinking, where did we go on Wednesday? Wednesday, remember Wednesday? Where did we go on Wednesday? No, he's no clue. We went to a rather nice restaurant and bar called Albert's with some friends. And it was a beautiful night. Never been to the place before. Absolutely gorgeous. Food was to die for. Quite quiet as well, wasn't it? Probably because it was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
But most people were outside, but we were inside having a very nice meal. So that was Wednesday. And then it's Friday, which is now. So we're here with you, having a look at some freebies. So gear up your freebies. I still can't see the chat. It's not liking me at all. I'm going to refresh the page and hopefully eventually something will happen and I'll be able to catch up. But in the meanwhile, Mike will let me know. So first freebies of the week. We've talked about Creative Market before, but the freebies that they have change every week. So if you go up there now, you'll get this week's freebies. Go on Monday, you'll get next week's freebies. This week's freebies, there's 6 of them. There's a font called Wider Font, which looks very nice in presentations. What I like from these freebies is presentations themselves. So there's a Keynote file there. And if you don't use it as is, you can always use it as the basis of a presentation. So it just really extends the themes that you have available already inside Keynote. Then there's another font, rather a nice classy font, I thought, that one. The other 3 are more designer-ish than that. There's some patterns, the artistic dimension abstract patterns. Now, we looked at how to create a pattern, so you should have a whole new view on this. Now you know how to create them, but there's some freebies for you. There's also patterns for packaging, which would print out nicely should you have a big enough printer, for wrapping paper. Now, I have seen that done, but I don't have a printer that big. What I did was print it out in A4 and stick it together. Oh, it's only a smallish pattern anyway. No, present. Now, then there's a brush set. Now, the brush set is for Procreate. So if you've got Procreate, there's some free brushes for you. Can't say fairer than that. Now, I also wanted to find some. Mike doubtless has got the link for that, haven't you, Mike? creativemarket.com/free-goods.
I put it in already.
Oh, he's on the ball. Well, if I could see the chat and YouTube, I'd be all right. Can't see either at the moment, so it's clearly in a mood with me. But at least it's broadcasting, so I'm leaving it alone. It's not broken. Leave it alone, woman. Right, the next one is free all the time. So it's a whole collection of freebies, particularly vectors. Now, if you look at the top, the website is 1001, so that's 1001 freedownloads.com. But I focused in on vectors because we do a lot of work with vectors here, don't we? So it's /free-vectors. Now, all I looked for was free vectors. I didn't put in any specific category or type of vector. And I got that lot back. Now, the ones at the top, the iStock ones, they are premium images. So this is how a lot of these free download sites work. If you click on one of the others and buy one, then they will get referral money. But the ones that are lower down are completely free. And I downloaded a few, had a look at them. Perfectly usable. So check out 1001freedownloads.com for some freebies. Oh, this is tantalising me now.
Not letting me post that in the chat.
Oh, wonder why. Is it because it's got the word free in it?
Could be.
Oh.
Well, the last one was free-goods.
Oh, well, I don't know then. It must be having a moment with you as well. As I say, oh, I can see myself now. Oh, this is scary. Now, if only I could see the chat. It seems to be loading in 1 pixel at a time from the top of the screen. So I reckon by about 9:30, I might be able to see the chat. I will catch up in the end, honestly. I will. If I have to tunnel through to Mike, I will. Right, so what else this week? Ooh, the Affinity Publisher video that I did, the live session, the extravaganza, this one. The replay's available, obviously. It's proved to be somewhat popular. Very, very popular. 12,750 when I put the slide together. I think it's another 100 in the last 20 minutes. And so we're now up to 12,850. So that's still there for you to go and view if you would like to. Oh, the page is now scrolling on YouTube. The excitement. And I can see the chat. Good evening, Carl. Ah, nice, I can see things. Right, so are you trying to post that link and it's not having it?
Yeah.
Now, what's Graham got the box set of? Oh, on the buses, that was my favourite. I love that. I wouldn't say it's dated particularly well in the sexism department, but it's still a wry smile. I remember it was the first time I went to the cinema to see that on the buses holiday one, because it was raining when we were on holiday. Obviously, we were in the UK, so clearly it was raining. And my mum said, let's go to the cinema and we'll watch on the buses. And all I could think of was, because I'd been to the theatre before, but I'd never been to the cinema, I thought they were one and the same. And when she said that and we started walking to the cinema, I said to her, Mum, how do they get the buses on stage? I was about 4. Let me off. I was about 4. Yeah, so I absolutely love that. So if you want to watch that, Mike will find the link and put it in there for you. It's still available for watching. All right. Right, so first thing to look at, Affinity Designer. This is something that I designed 2 years ago. You will appreciate 2 years ago because it says the 8th of July 2017. And it's reared its ugly head again for reasons I'll explain as I go through the demo with it. Basically, this prints out to an A3 sheet of paper. And the logic of it is we use it at the summer fair to raise funds. The lottery, don't ask me, I don't do it, but the lottery apparently went from a certain number of balls to a certain other number of balls. So now there's 59 balls. Who knew? And what we do is we charge £1 and you get to put your name next to the ball. And if yours is the bonus ball drawn out on said date, you win £30. The other £29 goes into church funds. That's the logic of it. So I was charged with creating the printout for the bonus ball. Simple, I thought. How difficult could it be, I thought. Let me show you how difficult that was. It all seemed like a jolly good idea at the time. Didn't totally end up that way. Right, map, bonus ball, there we go. 2017. Don't open on the other screen. Please don't open on the other screen. There we go. So that was the bonus ball. Now at the time, oh, I must just point out, there's a lot of buttons on that toolbar, isn't there? Your mileage will vary. I use if I right click on here and customize the toolbar, instead of having these folded up buttons, where are you? Where are the folded up buttons? This one here for alignment, I add the unfolded ones. And I do that because, as we've discussed, the alignment is not as snappy as I would like it in Affinity Designer. So I actually put the buttons up there so I can just quickly use a button rather than try and drag it into the right place. So that's why it looks a little bit crowded. I'm also running the screen at 1600 by 900 as usual, so you can see it without squinting. We are thinking next week, so if you are thinking otherwise, let us know. We are thinking of attempting to broadcast at a higher resolution because people have said we're fuzzy. We don't think we're fuzzy. We think we're 1280 by 720. But we might give it a go next week, so if you've got any feedback on that, let us know. Right, so all you need to know here is this is a standard Affinity Designer file. It was set up as an A3 document. And there's pretty standard stuff here. You can see I've got a header, and the header is this whole bit at the top. So the only reason it's a header, it's not a particular section of a document in Affinity Designer, it's just a grouping of elements that I've called header. Within it, I've got another group, which is the flash, which is just a shape, and the text that says win £30. So that's one group. Then there's the text that says bonus ball. So that's just artistic text. And then I have a text box with some text in. I was all right up until this point. It was all going so well at this point. But then we came down to this area here, and it should have been very simple. It wasn't very simple. You will notice in my layers on the right-hand side here that I've got editable numbers, and they are turned off. What on earth are editable numbers? Well, as the name implies, they are editable numbers. And if I get one that we can see, like, come on, 21. That is 21 and it's editable. That is 26 and it is editable. It's text. What the problem I had with the editable numbers was that they weren't lined up properly. So after fiddling with them for hours on end, I could get them aligned within the box, but each one, despite the fact they were centre aligned, was aligning differently within the box. So they were all crooked. So I ended up converting them here to curves. So actually, if we look at 11 and double click it, it's actually a vector shape. So it's not editable. It's editable as a vector shape, so I can grab these and do that with it, but it's not editable as in I couldn't change that 11 to 47 without a lot of grief. So that gave me a lot of work. I mean, we've got 59 numbers there that 1 needed adding, and 2 then needed converting, and then manually needed aligning because it was having a moment with the alignment. It shouldn't have been, but it was. So that took longer than I anticipated and wanted. That's the numbers. The last thing was the background boxes. Well, that's fairly simple, isn't it? Look at it, not a problem. I thought to myself I could just put lines in. So I could actually get the pen tool, start at the top, move down to where I wanted it, like that. And I've got a little bit of a box and I could draw it across. Obviously, I'm just drawing in the margin here, but I could do that and then put the extra lines in. So I could click here and move across and click here and move across. But the problem with it was it would have been an absolute nightmare to scale it. So let's get rid of that. So I thought, right, what's needed is just a box. So the number 1 there would need a box, like that. And the number 2 would need a box. And the number 3 and 4 and 5 would need a box. Obviously, that's not too tricky. Make the first box and duplicate it and then line it up. The problem was, if you wanted to rescale those boxes to get them on the page, it took an age. So after I'd done it all, I thought never again. Quite simply, you know, if the lottery ever changed the number again, not going there. It was horrible. That whole job took way longer than it needed to take. Actually, looking at it, I could have done it faster in Pages, which is fine in hindsight. Why could I have done it faster in Pages? Who knows that? What did Pages have that Affinity Designer didn't that would have made that job a whole lot easier? And if once I'd got to the end, I'd thought of that at the beginning, then that's where I would have started. Now, they haven't added tools to Affinity Designer per se that would have solved all of my problems with this design. But guess what? Despite the fact that last year I took a slight hiatus from summer fair duty, it's fallen back to me again this year. You do the bonus ball. I thought, oh joy. So I came in and I looked at that and I thought, oh, thank you. All I need to change is the date of the 8th of July 2017 to the 6th of July 2019 and I am done. I thought I can do that. And then I looked at this file and you know, went through it. As I do, when I go back to a file like this I've not looked at for 2 years, I have a look, you know, how I did it, what was involved in it, and you know, and I instantly remembered that this one was a living nightmare. And I thought, hang on a minute, just a minute. There's a much easier and better way to do that these days. Like, everything on there would be easier. The heading was already pretty easy, but all of this malarkey, absolute doddle. So what I thought was I'd show you how I did it, because I did actually take the time, instead of just whipping in here and changing that date there, which I did do, I thought I need to recreate it. So that was what I'm about to show you. So I'm going to leave that one there. And I changed application. I went into Affinity Publisher. Because nobody said it yet. Nobody said it yet. There is a tool that Affinity Publisher has that Designer does not. So I'm going to File New, get the new document, dialog. This time I need an A3. I do want it portrait. I am concerned with the margins. I do not want margins of 1 inch. That's far too big. I don't need margins more than about 1 centimetre or 10 millimetres. That will be fine and okay. So that is my A3 page. Now for speed, I'm going to go back in here because this is Designer and Publisher, very, very friendly with each other. So I'll copy that and whip into Publisher and just paste it in. That's all I need to do. These remain editable. They're not pasted in as graphics or pixels. I can carry on and edit it. So if we were feeling inordinately generous in the £30 department, we could put £40. So the whole thing is absolutely editable. So I'm going to need to change that to 2019, and I do believe it is the 6th. Right, so at that point I was pleased with myself, but I was also thinking to myself, that bit was easy last time. The next thing I did was go back in here. I knew there were 5 columns, but then I needed to know how many rows. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's important back in here because you do have the table tool, but the way it works, and I'm not letting go here, I'm using the left mouse button, but I'm not letting go. So as I drag this, you can see you get more columns and more rows as you drag it. It's also giving you 4 pieces of information there on the right hand side. It's got the width, the height, it's also got the columns and the rows, and I need 12 rows, so I'm taking that back up until I've got 12, and 5 columns, so that's perfect. Now you might be thinking, yes, but it's nowhere near the right size, and I agree, it's not. But when you're drawing out your table, concentrate on the rows and the columns. Don't worry about the width and height. All of that can be finished later and fixed. So you now have your table. So these here, let's zoom in so you can see it. These are your headers across the top and your row headers down the side. If you need to add more, so if you've missed and you've only got 13, you've only got 11 and you want another one, then you can click on here and up that. So you can add them and you can take them away. So if you need to make any changes to that, you can. Obviously, it's totally the wrong size, but the handles on the frame mean you can put it in just about the right place, and you can grab this and stretch it out. And straight away, I've got what looks like a perfect replica of what we had in Designer that took ages, because I had to work out the sizes. Right, so in here, I needed then, of course, to put in the numbers. So I'm putting numbers in, and you're probably not seeing a thing because it's so tiny. But trust me, the numbers are going in there. So what we need to do with that is you're going to need to create some kind of format in here. Now, with that table selected, you have a few options for editing the contents of it. With it selected across the top here, all of these are active. So if instead of 12 points you want it much bigger, you can see that happening straight away. So let's make that 64. They're also in the wrong place. It would be better if they were centred, both vertically and horizontally. So centre it vertically, centre it horizontally, and they're in the middle. You can also change the font. So the font I used was called Impact, which was that one. And we had them a much lighter colour than the black. Now, I remember thinking as I was looking at this and thinking about designing it, that you'd want it as clear as possible. So you want the numbers really big and bold. And then I thought, not given how these are used. And how these are used, the A3 sheet of paper is stuck to a piece of cardboard. And you then have a pen with you, and people write their names in the square. Because of that, you only really need that number to be fairly greyish. And we have in here a whole palette full of greys. So we could have 10% grey, 20% grey. I think I went for about 20 to 25, something like that. So the number's there and it's clear, but it can be written over in black. Then, because I've done it to all these cells down here that didn't have anything in it, you can carry on in there and it will take the format that you've applied, even though when you applied the format, there was nothing actually in there. Now, at this stage, what should I probably do? I don't actually need to, given what I'm doing, but if I had multiple pages of these things, what's my next step? As I'm putting these in, you tell me what's my next step. Technically, in a design like this, what should I be doing next? Something that we've talked about. I'm going to put the wrong numbers in here, and then if I use it next week, it's going to be a nightmare. Oh, it's not 23, it's 32. What should I be doing next? What would I recommend if I was doing it properly? No, I've never heard that Liverpool won the Champions League. Remind me again. I'm sure we mentioned our trip to Old Trafford, didn't we, Mike? When we went in the trophy room. Crickets.
We did.
Tumbleweed.
We did.
We had one trophy. It was the ladies' trophy.
That's why I've mentioned it.
Yes, there was nothing wrong with the ladies' trophy. The ladies played fabulously. I personally would play the ladies in the first team. Just me. Right, so I'm doing quite nicely here, putting these in, and nobody is saying what I should actually technically be doing, which I could do at this stage. I could have done it after I had put in one number, or I could do it after I've put in all of the numbers. But what should I be doing? Somebody must know what I should be doing. There's all my numbers. Excellent. There we go. No, you're clueless, aren't you? Well, you can create a table style, or you can create styles for the text. And it would probably be an idea to create a style. For something like this, it's not imperative because I'm selecting the whole table and I can affect that all together. So if I decide they're a little bit on the big side, I can change the whole lot together just by selecting the table. So we could go really big. That's far too big. So 64 is about right, to be honest. Right, so that was the bonus ball. So the trick with that was doing it in Publisher, because Publisher has the table tool. Now, that's actually very interesting when we think about Affinity and we think of how they have built Publisher to be a kind of portal through to the features of the other applications. So Photo and Designer, because Illustrator has its own table tool. Now, why would Illustrator have its own table tool? It's because traditionally you could think that Adobe would be having, they would take the tools from InDesign and make them available in Illustrator. But traditionally, Adobe have kept their applications totally separate. So the fact that there is a table tool in InDesign, obviously, and there is a table tool in Illustrator, doesn't mean they're equal. They're not the same table tool. They are not. So Affinity don't have a table tool in Designer, but now we have Publisher, and Publisher's the framework for the tool sets of all their suite. It makes sense now that if I wanted that in a design layout in Designer, so let's say at this point, I'm okay with that now. That's absolutely perfect. I'm happy with that. I could save this and I will put it on the desktop as a bonus ball with table, so we know exactly what it is. That will be a Designer file, so we'll stick that on there. I'm still having problems with this, Mike, with YouTube not knowing what on earth is going on.
Oh.
I have no idea why, etc. But it is. What's happening here? I'm going to have to take a second, I think, and nurse it somehow. It's not a happy YouTube tonight. Not a happy YouTube at all. So give me 1 second. I wonder if I can do that on the fly. Let's have a look. I'm being told it's live, so that's a step in the right direction, isn't it? Let's do that and see if that does any good. Hopefully we won't all die a sad death.
I was just thinking that Roger and Carl were having some footy banter, but it turns out that Roger posted in the wrong window.
We don't mind. Post it where you like. Post it where you like. We don't mind that at all. I'm pleased to report my laptop's feeling a little bit healthier. I have no idea what's wrong with it, but hey. Let's see if it's charging. That might be a start. And for me to see it's charging, it would help if the clock wasn't in the wrong place. For crying out loud, Apple. It's charging now. So I think it could just have been upset with its little self. Anyway, we were at the stage of saying, so we have this publisher file and we've saved it as a publisher file. So I'm going to close publisher now, and I'm going to close that file. We don't want that. Now, what we've got in front of us is Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator. And this file is the publisher file. It has the publisher icon. It has the publisher extension. It is opening with publisher. It's a publisher file. But if we right click on it and say open with and choose designer, there is the file in designer with the table that I can edit, and look at that. I now have a table tool in designer. It's a table. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Right, so we've sorted that out. There's the bonus ball. So who's going to make a bonus ball now for work? At least if you wanted to do more design work on that, you could. If you wanted to do format on that, you could. You can now just carry on as if it were a designer file. What I'm tending to do at the moment is do a lot of work in Publisher and then pull in the tools from the other applications. Obviously, that depends on you having all three applications, but don't forget there's 20% off everything until the 3rd of July, and that includes resources. So that was a bonus ball. Okay, let's come out of there. Right, the next one. Affinity Publisher is your friend because it's got a table tool. Now, you may not have seen this demonstration. I did this one back in September. But that you see hanging off the bottom there, that's a table. So the table tool is for more than just very basic tables. It's for highly formatted tables like that, or really complicated tables like those. So I have used those in publications as like a quiz thing. The one at the back on the right is the quiz, and the one on the back on the left is the answer. Can you remember what that was all about, Mike? Have a quick shufty at those icons there. Well, words, what the words are, because I made that one for a demonstration, and the demonstration.
Savvy Mac user. Savvy Mac user.
No, it wasn't. That was all functions.
Oh, I was a slide behind.
You were a slide behind. No, that one is all the Excel functions. So it was to go in the Office Summit brochure. And the one at the front, of course, is a Sudoku puzzle. So, and that one, which I created and now can edit in Affinity Designer. So, tables don't have to be boring. Now, next thing. iWork updates. You know how I love my iWork. There's updates. Yay! Now, I don't know about you. You could just hit update and be done. That might be what you need to do. I actually read them. Yeah, I'm the one that reads them. I read the updates, see what's new. And with this one, what I decided to do was leave it alone, and I will do the updates live. But I'll show you a couple of things first. How they work now and what the changes are. And some of them, very useful. Very useful. So, let's go over here. Oh, no, actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back into my presentation, but I'm actually going to come out of my presentation. So I don't normally come out of my presentation. You're wondering how I do that. Never mind how I do that. What I do is I just kind of suspend my presentation, but I'm going to come out of it because if I show you what's going on here, I want to show you a few things about how Keynote works right now and how Pages work right now. This was something Mike and I experienced when we were making a presentation together. So to show you what the problem is, I'm going to make a new presentation. A white presentation. That's hideous, isn't it? We'll have it plain. And what I'll do is I will do what I normally do with a presentation, which is make the size custom. So mine's 1280 by 720. And I'm going to move it fractionally. And I'm just going to grab some of these slides that we've already seen over here. So hopefully I will be able to copy that, put that in there. And what that will do is it will, if I open this up here, I've got my slides. But if I go into my, where have you gone? Oh, where have you gone? Change the master. You can see I've now got a new template at the bottom. I have my after hours section. That appears because I've copied something from in here that's got a master on it. So if we look at this one, which is the Affinity Publisher Replay, is that the one? No, it's not. It's this one, the bonus ball. This one here and this one. If I take those two and put those two in there, so let's grab both of those and drag them into my new presentation. When I look at my masters now, I've got an extra one, which is my Affinity Publisher one. So that's how master slides get in there. Or you could create one. Now, this is the problem. I'm going to save that file. I'm going to save it into my iCloud folder. And I'm going to call it Shared with Mike. Guess why I'm going to share it with Mike? But just to show you that if I wanted to make a change to some of the masters in here, you can edit the master slide. And I've got the white one at the bottom, the blank one. I've got the after hours section, and I've got this blank Affinity Publisher one here. So I'm going to duplicate that one. And I'm going to change the colours. So I might want that to be blue and a deep blue. And that wouldn't be Affinity Publisher Copier. I call that Affinity Designer. Colours aren't 100% right, but never mind. So I've gone in and I've made changes and I've created a new master, recoloured it. I'm showing you this for a reason. So let's save that file. I can do that, is the point. Now, I want to share this file with Mike. So I'm going to go and hit Add People. And shall I mail it to you, Mike? That'd be easiest, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, I will share it via mail. Hope it doesn't open up the mail app. No, it's opened up Mail Plane. That'll do. That'll do as long as there's a mail. Loading in Gmail, have a think about it, why don't you? Right, so this is going to Mike. So there's Mike, and that's the link. So here's the file. Now what that will enable us to do, when Mike accepts, etc., is work on this file together. So when that arrives, Mike, strut your stuff with it, and at some point I should be told that he has joined in this file and we are now working on it together. We are collaboratively working on it together. Oh, I'm looking at my mail and it says 9:02 and it's from Carl. No after hours tonight. Of course there is, we're here. It would have helped, of course, if I'd have made the thing public. But hey, you can't have everything, can you? Oh, if I was organised. One day I'll tell you about what this week was like, as I'm ripping Mike a new one. But that's a whole different story. Right, have you got the thing yet, Mike? And have you weaved your magic with it?
iCloud encountered an error whilst trying to connect to the server.
iCloud, I hate you. Right, okay, what I'll do is I'll close the file at this end. See if that makes a difference, and you try again at your end. Otherwise, it's not going to be much of a demo, is it? Fantastic. What are they like? Come on. You can do this, Apple. You know you can. Right, let's get that out of the way. That's the other one. We're not interested in that. And I want to go in and open the file.
Connection error.
It's just totally having an error, is it?
Right, let me try another browser.
Yes, try another browser. Try standing on one leg and whistling Dandy.
So try Firefox.
Try Firefox, why not? God, you love a demo when you're let down by the tech. I could talk you through what I'm trying to show you, and then when it actually happens, oh, you'll
Where's
be thrilled.
the fun in that?
I know. Right.
iCloud encountered connection error.
Well, I could share another one, but there doesn't seem to be much point. I could...
Should I try Safari?
Yeah, why not try Safari? Because, you know, Apple likes Safari. Right, what I'm attempting to show you is that there's a limitation that it does not make clear, and this limitation has been there since they added sharing. And that limitation is, you hear my ice? Whee!
No, it doesn't want to know.
My ice is melting, unfortunately, but I'll put a little bit more water in it. I'm dying here. I think it's about 48 in here. The problem with it was it does not tell you at the point you share. So that file is shared, and it does not tell you at the point that you share that there's a problem with it. But there is. Now, I think for the problem to manifest itself, Mike actually has to have joined the file. So unfortunately, I might not be able to demo the actual problem. You're going to have to trust me. But the problem is, if I go in and want to change the master, obviously I can do that because all of these masters are in the file. The problem is if I want to edit a master slide with a shared presentation. So if I wanted to make this completely different, I would not be able to. Up until now, you cannot edit master slides in shared presentations. Now, we got bitten by this with a presentation that we needed to share and then needed to add master slides to, and it wouldn't have it. It would not have it, full stop. And I couldn't work out what was wrong with it. I thought, well, why is this doing this? It gave me no indication. There was no message, nothing. It just would not let me edit the master slides. I thought I had a corrupt file. And I was thinking, oh, good grief, this is one we need to share. And I'm going to have to roll it back to the one that I took last night as a copy. And I thought, just a minute. The only change really is a couple of slides I've added and the fact that it's now shared. So I looked it up and it's a known issue. So if there's a presentation with masters in it and you're sharing it, then you can't edit the masters. Now, I would love to show you that.
I've now got this presentation is unavailable. The owner stopped sharing or you don't have permission to open this presentation.
It's lying. Right, I'm going to choose shared with Mike again and I'll share it with you again, Mike. Because I've got nothing else to do but share, have I? Right, so let's share it with you again.
Is it in the same link?
I've no idea. Do I look like I know? This is iCloud, it could be anything. Right, have you got the second mail?
Not yet.
We're all waiting with anticipation.
No, that's your Apple ID was used to sign into iCloud.
It's not the same if you've not seen it. I'm upset now. Give it a go, Mike. Other than that, I have one other option here that I could try.
No, this presentation is unavailable. The owner stopped sharing, or you don't.
I did not stop sharing. You've seen it. I did not stop sharing. Right, let me see if I can find the file that is shared. I think it's called master. Does it tell you if it's shared? Let's just try this one. See if it is. Yay, it says it's shared. Right, fantastic. What I'm going to do is it's opened up on another screen. Give me 1 second to get it on the right screen. To do that, I'm going to need...
You're sharing with yourself.
I'm going to get it to you in a second.
Right.
This is my presentation. There it is. The Jolly Ollie Holiday. Right, can you see that? Excellent. When it's shared, it says shared at the top. That bit there. That bit there at the very top. So this one is shared. The other indication you have that it's shared is over here on the share button. It's now green with a tick indicating somebody has shared it. Thank the Lord. Now, I now would like to change the master. So I'm in the master. I'm on the slide here. I want to change the master. I can change the master. That's not a problem. But on the background here, the edit master slide option is dimmed out. I can't do it. So that's the only indication I have that there's something I can't do. No indication of why not. It would have been fine if on there there'd have been a message as to why not. So obviously you can imagine me, what I should be seeing is that, edit master slide, what I am seeing is a pushed in button and I can't do a thing. Not good, not good. I'll agree with it though there, you know, Mike. That button is not saying it's shared, but obviously it is shared, so it's lying. So that was the problem. That was one of the problems. Do you know, by the time I finish this, we'll all have lost the will to live. Right, so that was one of the problems. So I'm going to close that file down. That's indicated problem number 1. Right, the next one isn't particularly a problem. It's just what happens right now, which is I am opening Pages. I am getting a new Pages file. There is the said new page dialog box, and I'm just going to get a blank one. Not a big thing. Just get that out there and show you the options you have for text. So I'm going to put test a text. No, test text. Right. Over on the right hand side, underneath the formatting, these are the options that you have, and they're very simplistic. I will take a screenshot of that, and we may be able to go back to that later. In fact, I can take a screenshot like that, and we definitely will be able to, because that screenshot's just, so that's a screenshot. That's the real thing behind, that's a screenshot. So I'll get that out of the way and we can go back to that shortly. This looks very simplistic. It has styles at the top. These you can create, but these shipped with it, with this template. You have style, layout and more. And everything is neatly folded up. So there are extra elements hidden in here that we can't actually see. Obviously, spacing has a disclosure triangle, and bullets and lists has a disclosure triangle. Under the layout, there's a whole lot more disclosure triangles, and now things start getting more complicated. So you've always had all of these options in here, and there's even a more. There is another way to get to extra elements in here, which is this cog icon next to the underline, which is the advanced options. So hold on to that thought. We'll also take a screenshot of that if we can. Oh, it's doing the whole lot. We didn't really want the whole lot, but we'll take it. Let me see if I can get just one of that. No, it's not doing it. Right, I wanted one of this dialog box, because this is the one where fundamental changes have been made. You can in your text, so let's make it much bigger for a start. Let's go for 120. Now we can see it. Let's make it a nice bold font, that impact font. And go back in here. You have been able, underneath that advanced options, to change the background. How many of you knew this? Because to me, it's not obvious you can do that at all. Did you know this, Mike?
No.
You can also put strike through it in there. You can add shadow to it. So that's actual shadow to the text. Obviously, that is far too intense. But if we do that, we can see we've got a shadow behind the text. The text is black. We've got a background colour. And we could even select it as I've done here. Go into the advanced options and put outline. And now it's outlined text. So who knew about those options? Let me know if you knew about those options. That outline, not useful, to be honest, not greatly useful, and the whole effect isn't great. But what they've done is they've completely changed how the text works. So I haven't updated the app, so I could show you the old way. So I've shown you two specific problems so far. This text in here, not brilliant. And the other one was editing the master slides, that you cannot share, you cannot edit master slides in a shared presentation. So in here, I'll also show you, you've got similar, if I add a slide, change the master to that, get some text on it. So we'll put test text again. No, what are you typing, woman? Text, there we go. I've lost the ability to type today, Mike. I'm blaming you. This is what a holiday does to me. Right, let's put that in there and we'll make it our impact again. Because impact outlines nicely. It does. Right, we have very similar options in the text under here. You'll see that the spacing and the line bullets and lists are in exactly the same place. You have character styles in here. which you didn't have, and you've got advanced options. So again, I can make that outline, I can put a strike through on it, I can add a shadow behind it. I can give it colour. Is that hideous enough for you? So very, very similar in Keynote. Right, I'm going to need to save that presentation and close Keynote. I will save that file, but I'll regret that. Let's put it on the desktop and put test 1 and close Pages. Right. I'll now go into the App Store. There's the App Store. There's the updates. These are the 3 updates that I've got. So I'm going to update them live. That's probably not the best idea I've ever had, but it shouldn't take too long. It doesn't usually. I'm on a fairly decent connection. So these came out 2 days ago. Now, if you actually read the release notes, I'm the one person who reads the release notes, you'll see that you can style your text by filling it with gradients or images or applying new outline styles. Ooh, new outline styles. Well, there was only the one, and you saw what that did. It took the colour away from the actual text. You can copy and paste pages or sections between documents and so forth. So there's a whole raft of elements here. One that I haven't actually tried, because as you've seen, I haven't actually got these installed yet, is the face detection. Subjects in photos are intelligently positioned in placeholders and objects. That could be interesting, couldn't it? And various other things, but I thought the biggest one was the changes to the text. When I actually saw it on a new version, it's completely changed its location as well. So definitely worth having a quick look at here. The release notes for Keynote give you the same option, but you'll notice the first one is edit master slides while collaborating. Oh, this could be fabulous, Mike. Or my demo could crash and burn, depending on iCloud and what mood it's in. Right, we will after this be returning, you'll be glad to hear, to Publisher. I've got a fabulous demo. But let's just have a look at this and make sure that it completely works. And the ones that I need updating, Pages and Keynote, are the ones that are taking their sweet time. Right, I need a photo with a person in it that's not centred, Mike. I'll let you try and find one for me. Okay, so we've got Pages, so we can start working with Pages while it thinks about updating Keynote. Right, so when you go in here, you get what's new, and you'll see the top option is the styling of the text. You can also now combine documents by taking sections between documents. And this is a fairly big one, linked to pages within a layout. Now that was something I've wanted for years and could not believe it's not there. The other option is you can add inline objects to your text, which is very important for equations. You can see the complete feature list if you click on the link in there, and what that will do is take you out to this website, which is the support site at Apple, and it will allow you to learn more about each individual feature that they've added. So that might actually be worth a look.
Where do you want this picture?
Oh, put it in the black hole and I'll find it.
How big do you want it?
A decent quality picture.
5472 by 3640.
Oh, that'll do nicely. Lots big, that's what we'll have. Right, so this was the file that we had. Our hideous text. There we go. Right, let me get rid of that. Right, more text. But now, as we look in here, let's fold up the spacing and the bullets and whatever. Very different. Very different now. We've got what used to be this one, which is the advanced options that used to hang off the bold italic underline, has moved to a place of its own. It's been replaced by the strike-through text. So if you're used to flying around this dialog box, you could well find yourself at the point of thinking, where's that gone? And you're making something struck through rather than using the advanced options. So just keep an eye on it. You've got your character styles, and then you've got this bit that says no fill. Interesting. That's probably got no fill because in the advanced options here, which I've also changed, we've got an outline on it. If I take the outline away and I take the shadow away, you can see the text colour is now set to black. So the reason that that was all dimmed out, no, you've not got one, was because I'd applied an outline to it. So what we're looking at the moment is just the text that I had before with a yellow background, which is also in here. There's my text background. So if I take that away, that's standard text. So imagine we're starting from this and we want to format the text now. So go into my options, add an outline to it. Now you'll notice in the last one, it was just an outline and it took the fill away and it didn't give me any of these options. What you can do here is you can choose the outline. So it could be dashes. Now you can't see it too well, so just hold on to that thought while I whip to the end and set the line width much, oh dear, much wider, maybe not that wide, and then go back and show you the different effects that you can get. So you can have dotted outlines on your text. You can use these texture outlines. Oh, very nice. So it just gives you a lot more options when it comes to styling text. This colour in the middle is referring to the outline and only the outline. Yeah, much better. You can add a shadow if you want to, and you can angle your shadow. So have it hanging off the bottom over there, and I could make that a sort of grey colour. You can change its blur, its offset and its opacity. So you've got all of those options in there. But you also have this option at the bottom for text background. So if I made that, what would go with orange? How about that colour? Right, if I move away, you can see that's setting the background. Excellent. But back at this level, so not in the advanced options, just your standard options, the text was black. But what if I made it blue? Well, now you can. I'm not at all sure that this is an improvement on black text, but I can definitely see the scope for this in Keynote. But in terms of layout documents, it gives you far more DTP-like options. No, it's not Affinity Designer, but it's a big improvement on what it was. Put it like that. So let's select that, go back into the advanced options, and what else have we got we can have a look at? I'll make the shadow a bit bigger. And I'll make it more offset. There we go. So now you can actually see the shadow there. And possibly take the opacity down a little bit. Take it down to 80. There we go. So we have hideous text, basically, is what I'm showing you. But there are other options in here, which is when you click on text colour, I don't think it's particularly obvious that you can click on that because it looks like it's dimmed out. If you click on it, you can also use all of the standard fill options that are available most other places in Pages and Keynote. For no fill, the text colour, a gradient fill, an advanced gradient, an image fill and an advanced image fill. Now let's have a look at a gradient fill. It gives you a starting point. So let's see. Ooh, this is not good. So just choose your colours. So we'll choose a really light pink and a really deep pink, and you've got a gradient fill on it. You can see that you can apply the gradient fill to the whole page. Now, if we did that, let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at it. Let's go back over there and get it. Apply to whole page. No, I'm not seeing that making that much of a difference. Can you do that? No, you're not, are you? I think I'd have to have a whole page of text to make that a much better idea. But what I will show you is, with that selected, I'm going back into Advanced Gradient Fill. The Advanced Gradient Fill, as in the fill for shapes, will allow you to have a starting point. So we'll make that red and we'll make that green. Oh, this is hideous. This is lovely and hideous. You can change the angle of that, so it's even more hideous. You can change the type of the gradient, and you can flip the gradient around. So you can really go to town on this. But you can also add in extra gradient points. So that's a standard thing that you can do in gradients when you're filling shapes with gradients. So you can now do that. Hang on, didn't take that purple. Take that purple. I want this really hideous. Lovely. Lovely. Now, that was standard fills and gradient fills. But, of course, there's image fills. So we need an image, we need a pattern image. Now, I know somewhere I've got the owls. Let's see if I can just swiftly download a pattern. That looks like a reasonable pattern. Can I have you? I think that's a pattern. I think we could use that as a pattern. Right, how I will do that. Click image fill. And drag and drop the pattern onto there, and it's used that as the fill for it. The advanced image fill, we looked at this a couple of weeks back, and the benefit of this was you could scale it. Now, if this is not letting us scale it, can we scale? I want to scale to fit. No! I want to change this. It's not letting me do that. I wonder why. Completely dimmed out. Could be it's not big enough to do that with, but technically speaking, you should be able to do that. If I drag that in, nope, not having it. And what we looked at last time was that you can put a colour wash on top of it. So if you want to tint the image that you've added, you can do that as well. So maybe you've got an image that's a perfect pattern but the wrong colour, and applying this wash to it, you can change that. So huge improvements to the text side of things. Now, that's all very well, isn't it? Let's minimise that and let's open Keynote. Back to that presentation that I had shared with Mike, and there's the options that you've got in here as well, so let's do that. Right, let's move on with that and let's open tonight's presentation. Get that out of the way, and let's go and open that other one. Which was the master one, and down the bottom to the Jolly Ollie Holiday, which was there. So let's bring this one in because this is shared. This is shared. So it's exactly the same presentation, right? But it's shared. And you will now notice the big difference. I can now edit the master slide despite the fact it's shared. Can I just say, Mike, praise the Lord for all that is holy. Because I couldn't believe that I had to choose between editing my master slides and sharing it with Mike. It's ridiculous. Now I don't have to. I can do both. I'm a happy bunny with my Jolly Ollie Holiday. Excellent. So that is a huge, huge, huge improvement. In terms of the text, there's what we were playing around with. So let's get a new slide and let's get some more text. So more text, and all of the options that you had available in Pages you now have available in here. Is anybody going to use these? That's a bit big even for me. Oh, that's better. So you've got your colour fill where you can have your gradients. Lovely. You have got in here, you have got your outline. We'll choose a different colour for the outline or it won't make any sense at all. I think if you're subtle with it, you know, that could be an improvement if you are subtle with it. What I'm doing is going absolutely crazy to make the point of how much you can actually change it. But that's actually an improvement. There are ways that you could do that without those features. How I've done that in the past is create two lots of text where one's fractionally bigger, put one on top of the other, then do a shape with the fill in it, and then mask. It's a nightmare. So now it's just there and you can do that. So they were a few of the changes made to the new version of Pages, Numbers and Keynote. Right, let's get rid of that. Let's get that out of the way now, because we were beyond that, weren't we? We were going back in there because the next demo, vector maps. Oh, hello, we've got somebody with us here. Have a look. Hello. Oh, Liechtenstein. Who's fancied visiting Liechtenstein?
Have you?
Oh. And that's not like me, is it? No. I like cool weather, so I don't tend to venture anywhere really. Manchester's nice and cool. Right, vector maps. I had a job to do this week. You know, one of those jobs that was so simple when you started. All I wanted was something that looked like that-ish. I wanted a representation of an area locally that I could then annotate with instructions for how to get there. And I thought it would be very simple to do with Affinity Designer. What I was actually looking for, ending up with, was something like this. So I can get people to where we are having a do at the weekend. It's not particularly difficult, and it's a well-known area, obviously, Manchester United. It's hard to miss it. But the problem is, over the years, do you remember, Mike, when there used to be a motorcycle garage, Shanks, opposite White City? It used to be a tiny roundabout. Yeah. And now it's not. Now it's humongous. And even I don't know where I'm going. And I've lived here all my life. So the problem that we've got is, and the car park's not easy to get to either. So we definitely needed a map. That was what I ended up with. That was not as easy as it should have been. So I thought I'd show you how I got there. Right, I started off, let's lose this. Don't need that. I started off thinking to myself, map, relatively straightforward, isn't it? Google Maps. How far wrong can you go? Google Maps. There we go. Right, so that's where we are. Old Trafford isn't far. If I pull the map, it's there. So we're very blessed. We live very close. So I don't even need to do a search or whatever. I can just move fractionally and we're there. So I thought to myself, right, I need to focus in on that. People will probably be travelling from here. This is where we live. This is Sale down the bottom. Actually, Ashton-on-Mersey, but they're one and the same. People will be going up this road here through Stretford. It's an absolutely straight road, isn't it? Until they get to that roundabout. Are you confused yet? Yes, it's not pretty. So I thought, well, what I need is that in my file. It was simple. But as I looked at that, I thought, you've got to be joking me. There's just far too many labels. So I thought, well, if I zoom out a bit, it didn't improve. If I zoom in a bit, it actually got worse. So I remembered that I'd seen an option in an app, and I thought, let's start there. This app is called Swift Publisher. It's not that expensive. I think it's around the £25 mark, something like that. Never mind the tutorials and stuff. Let's say I want a blank landscape document. And what I would like is the map from behind it. Now, obviously, there's a couple of ways of going about that. It's fairly straightforward. Let's just look at the map. That's what I want. I could take a screenshot. I could, I'll have to go and get it. Let me think about it. I think it's that one. Right, if I do that, that's not changing. That's not good. Well, I could take a screenshot of that. So let me try doing it like this, which is take a screenshot like that. That's one option. That will open up Snagit, which is my screenshot app of choice, which is getting giddy. So let's drag that out of the way. Let's put Swift Publisher back there and drag and drop it from Snagit. So it doesn't matter where you're dragging and dropping it from, you now have a map. Problem is, it's bitmap, and as I stretch it, it's going to pixelate badly. So that was the first problem. The second problem being how much information is on the map. There's too much. So that was one option. I quickly gave that idea up. But then I remembered in Swift Publisher there was an option to insert, and you could insert certain things, like a calendar or a table or a smart shape. And I remembered one of them was map. So I wondered what I'd get if I tried that. Now it defaults to infinite loop, which is all fine and dandy, but that's not where I need. So the postcode for Manchester United is M16ORA. It's sad that I know that, but I do. And that is about the right area. So if I zoom in a little bit, that is about right. With that one, if you look at that, you've got the areas, but you're not bombarded with shops and KFC and pubs and stuff. So that was one option. You can also, at this stage, put a place marker in if you wanted. So there's a place marker. The problem I had with the place marker was I wanted to move it, but you can move it. So I need to put that, where is it, Mike? It's there, isn't it? No, that's on the wrong side of the road. It's there. It's really tiny where we're going. It's there. But at least you can put your map pin on it before you insert the map. So that was actually quite handy. You can even choose whether you see terrain, how much terrain you've got on there. You can choose your labels and your satellite and all the rest of it. So then there's no labels. Yeah, so you've got a few options. Not bad. When you're ready, just click Insert and it puts a map inside Swift Publisher. Obviously, that's not Affinity Designer, is it? But it wasn't bad. For me, it still had things on it that I didn't need. I am not going to need this Coronation Street, the tour. I didn't even know there was a Coronation Street tour anymore. This is it's the International War Museum. Imperial War Museum. The Lowry Theatre. That's all very well. That's not where we're going. We're going here. And I wanted to focus in on that. So, not bad, but not really what I was looking for. But if you've got Swift Publisher, it's an option. You can copy it from Swift Publisher and go into Affinity Designer, and you should be able to paste it in. You should be. Where's Affinity Designer gone? It's having a rare old think. There we go, and paste. So that's one option. But for that, of course, you would have to have Swift Publisher to be able to do it. But it's not bad. Not what I wanted, though. I would have liked something very plain that I could put maps on and things. And if I've got that pin there, for instance, which is exactly where we're going, there, you see how pixelated it is. You can't see behind it. That was another problem. So not bad, but I gave that one up. Didn't do that. Didn't do that way. So what I did do was this, which is, I think I've got this open somewhere. I had it in Chrome. And that's the link there. So what I did was use something called Google Maps Platform Styling Wizard. Who's heard of that? Lovely named. This is what it does. It gives you a little bit of an intro, and that's actually quite useful because the 6 squares that you see at the top here are there are a few of the options, the themes that you have available. There's a standard one, that's this one, in the middle of the lower 3. But then you've got others. You've got silver and retro, dark, night, aubergine, you name it. But you're not limited to that either. You can completely redesign this. So all you need to do is go to mapstyle.withgoogle.com and hit create a style.
Put the link in the chat.
Thank you. Right, so it takes you there. Now, first of all, you're going to need to find the address. And that's not, although it says Windermere, it's not the Windermere near us, is it? No, that's Seattle. Oh, so I could go find it this way, but I could be a while. Or I could search for an address. Let's see if I can find us. Oh, I'm in Germany now. Could find Liechtenstein now, couldn't I? There it is. There's Liechtenstein down there. Excellent. Right, well, we're up here. We are actually named. We are Manchester. There we go. So if I move us across... And did Carl mention Liverpool won the Premier, the thing?
He's not mentioned it for about half an hour.
No, he's not mentioned it for at least 5 minutes. I thought I'd help him along. Right, there's Sale. That's where we are. That was our walk. Our walk was Brooklands there to Altrincham there. So let's go the other way. Old Trafford. Old Trafford. Now, at that point, I looked at the map and thought it's worse than the other one. It's got all sorts on it. But I then had to play around with this, and I changed some of the colours. So if I was printing in black and white, that silver one would have a few options. And there's the retro one. Not bad. Not bad. I didn't like any of the dark ones. It would have cost me far too much in toner to be able to do that. But depending on what you want the map for, might work. And there's the aubergine one. That's really bad, isn't it? I decided to stick with the standard on the basis most people would understand what each bit was. So they wouldn't try driving up the Mersey for a start. Now, then I was interested in the density of features. So if I take this roads one down one, half the roads disappear. This is fabulous. You end up, if you take it down there, with like nothing. So I thought I'd best leave the roads. But I thought landmarks. Curious. Let's have fewer landmarks. And when I start taking the landmarks away, we lose Old Trafford. So that wasn't great. So I decided to leave that one in. But the labels, as I took the labels down, the labels seemed to be the stuff that was driving me mad. Now I've got a decent-ish map. So I've got a map that I could put my own path to the place on it. That was actually all I needed to do. But you could go in and you could make more changes. So you can go into more options and you can actually choose here what's shown. So you've got, say, attractions, labels, change the colour, whether they're shown or not. So you've got a huge range of options on here. I decided for what I wanted, I didn't actually need to make any more changes than that. I thought if I could create that as a vector, I was home and dry. I was done. So that was what I needed. But what I decided, so if I click finish, I get these two options. I get a style that I can export. But how these work, this is a JSON file. And you would copy and paste that into your application that you're displaying a Google map in, or your website. And to get the actual map, you use this URL here, but you'll see the instructions are telling you to use your API key. So you would need to have set all of that up first. And actually, you know, all I wanted was a couple of roads on a map. Please, just a couple of roads on a map. Now, luckily, I have a very inexpensive application when it's on offer that I thought might be able to help me a little bit. So let me try and get this. I think that's about the level I was at, the zoom level I was at. And all I did with this was take a screen cap again. So I probably started about here-ish and just took that down like that. So I've taken a screen cap. Now, need to understand, screen cap. There's the screen cap. Not vector, just a bitmap. So I will lose that and show you the application that I used, which was SuperVectorizer 2. When SuperVectorizer 2 is on offer, Mike, can you find me the price? I paid £1.99 for it, or 99 pence. And I know Graham, who's still there, aren't you, Graham, did the same. So I had SuperVectorizer 1 and then SuperVectorizer 2 came out. It was about £8 to £10. And I waited a couple of weeks and it came on offer. It's on offer.
$30.
$30. Good grief. It's worth waiting till it's on offer. But when it is on offer, buy it. Because it's that good.
Lifetime license, $40.
Lifetime license, $40. Yes, but that means you're buying it from them, doesn't it? I got that from the App Store. So my map is over here. My map is there. And what I'm doing with it, because my screen's so tiny, I am dragging and dropping it onto... So yeah, that's my map. That one there. I'm dragging and dropping it onto SuperVectorizer like that, which loads it in. Now, what SuperVectorizer does is look at a bitmap and vectorize it for you. Now, sometimes it does a better job than others. It just depends. So I don't particularly want it smooth because it's a map. But I do want the edges enhanced so I can see the roads. So I took the smoothness down as low as it would go. And I took the edge enhance up as far as it would go. I might need to dial that back a bit. Have a quick look when you're looking at it and see what you end up with, because this is the preview that you're getting. I think the edges do need enhancing, don't they? We want to see these little bit of a road here. Not to any great degree, just so we've got some kind of outline of the actual road. And that's fine. That has nothing on it that I don't want. Now, it has two modes. So this is mode 1. That's your preview. And this is mode 2. I would say with that, mode 1's absolutely fine. Mode 2 looks a little bit chunky. So with that, just have a flick between them and see which one you think looks best. You can also make it grey if you want with the grey option. And when you're ready, you just hit the export button and then save that to the desktop. So I will put map. We'll put MUFC map. Actually, it's not, you know, we're actually going to hotel football. So hotel football map. And that's it. You now have a vector. Why does this matter? Right, well, let's see the map here. There is the SVG. Now right click on that and say open it with Affinity Designer. And there is the map in Affinity Designer. Now, how it does it, it creates a stacked scan, which is all of these. Each bit of these is one part of the map. So if we go to the top, that's the top bit. I can turn it off and it simplifies it. I can turn off the second one. Well, it simplifies it even more, to the point of being useless. So we'll turn those back on. But because it's a vector, you can now decide what colours they need to be. So they're the roads, and they're kind of a very pale mauvey colour. But if you would like them to be something a little brighter, like, oh, purple, there you go. So whatever's selected over here, you can now recolour it. Not the best I've ever seen, but there you go. So let's uncolour that one. So let's bring this one back and make that one orange. So you can see that you can actually fiddle with that, which you couldn't do very easily if it was anything other than a vector. But there are other reasons for making it a vector. One is that you can now scale it, and it will scale without any loss of quality. So what I did at this point in here was start marking up my map. Now I actually have a map that I have marked up, which is this one. So let me move that to one side and I will recreate this map and you will be able to see what I did with it. So the first thing I did, these layers here, curves, are the actual map. So I grouped those together as the map. And then I needed to create some map pins that highlighted landmarks that people would know and could navigate by. And if you look at what I did with it, this is the final product. I actually had here map pins. They're very nice map pins. I created those in here. We've got triangles and all kinds of shapes. And I used the tier tool. Tier tool. Hello, Andreas. Good to hear from you. Right, if I draw that, it's upside down. Not great. Let's get some other colours. Let's get some system colours. What colours did I make them? They were a nice blue. They were that colour. And what I did with that, what did you just do there? What did you just do? Right, I turned that round. So all I did was rotate it 180 degrees and I've got the beginnings of a decent map pin. I, however, need a circle there. I need to draw out a circle like that and give that a white fill. Now, how did I do that and make that perfect the first time? Because most of the time it's never perfect. Let me show you how I did that. Let me take that one off. Let's start again. Right, I have gone and got the circle tool, which is the ellipse tool. It will draw ellipses. If I hold the shift key, it will draw a perfect circle. Notice what it's doing. It's pulling down from the left-hand side. So let's undo that and let's pull up from that side. Basically, it's going from a corner. That's what it's doing. That tool is working from a corner and you pull outwards. That's problematic in here. So I'm not quite sure where I want to go from. So I drag, that's not right, is it? It's not placed right. There's a trick. When you're drawing it, the shift key makes it a circle. But shift and command means it will draw out from the center point that you start from. So, deploying that methodology, if I move to the centre of that, hold down Shift, hold down Command and pull, I get my circle in the perfect spot. First time, every time. Good trick. Right, so I have my map. Let's get rid of that, my little map pin. What I would then do with my map pin is grab the two parts of my map pin and group that together. Another thing I would probably do at this stage is I'm going to need 7 of these. I could just duplicate. I'm holding down the Option key and I'm duplicating. And now I'm annoyed because I've realised that blue isn't great and I need them pink, and now I've got to recolour the lot. If you're with me in the chat live, what are the 2 things I could do? So I did not have to do that. There are 2 features of Affinity Designer which would solve the problem. I'm going to show one, but I could actually show both at the same time. What is that feature? Points for either of them. So I'm going to get rid of these extras while you're having a ponder over it, because I'm not going to need the extras. I'm going to do something magic first. Which something magic should I do first? Here's my map pin, my first map pin. You're all being very quiet.
No, I'm guessing.
You're guessing. Styles and objects. No, Deborah's there. Make a symbol. I can make a symbol.
That's what I meant.
That's what you meant, was it? Deborah's just putting words in your mouth for you. She's using the proper words for the features. I could indeed make a symbol. There is an alternative. There is another alternative to making a symbol. And you can link the 2 together. You can have a collaboration of both of these methods. Is there any benefit to using both? There is if you're branding elsewhere in the file. So I'll show you the first trick. We discussed, and this was in relation to Affinity Publisher, that we may do a session, we will do a session on using colour in Affinity Publisher. We've already done one on Designer. We will very briefly recap how we can create magic colour in Affinity Designer. You have in Affinity Designer your colour options available. You have these 3 palettes, which are your application palettes. These are only available in Affinity Designer. All of these ones with the little Apple logo are your system palettes, which is why I have Blue Yeti, ScreenFlow 7, Scrivener, Microsoft Office. These are all available in all my applications. It's unlikely I want to be bothered to create colours to use anywhere else for this particular job, but it would be great if I could have a dedicated colour palette for just the colours I want to use in here. You can do that up to the little menu, and you can add a document palette. This is a specific palette that only exists within this document. So I've added it, I'm going to rename it. Now I call it document, so it makes sense and I know that it's with the document. So document. It has at the moment no colours in it, but I can choose here. So let's go get a colour. So we will double click on that. We've got this shape selected, the map pin at the back. So it has a colour. And I can add that colour into this palette here so I can reuse it. I have 2 options for adding it. I can use this first button, which adds the current fill, which is the blue one, to the palette. But the one next to it will add the same colour, the blue, to the palette as a global colour. Why do we care if it's a global colour? I'll show you when I've done it. So we've added that as a global colour. That's why we have the tiniest triangle known to mankind in the lower left-hand corner. That is now a global colour. Right, at the moment, this is not a symbol. It's just shapes. They are not linked together in any way, shape or form. So if I click in there and I select the white and I make that some hideous pink, it only affects the one shape. They are not symbols at the moment. But if I go in and I colour, let me just get rid of these actually. Just realised I needed to do something at that point. So I'm just going to make that white again. What I do need to do with this blue bit at the background is make sure that the colour that's applied is that blue from the document palette. And now duplicate it and show you that it is not linked in any way. They are completely independent shapes. But if I go into one of these and I double click on the blue and I change the blue, it changes them all. Not because they're symbols, because they're not symbols. They're changing because they use a global colour. And the word global colour means if you change it in one place, it changes it throughout the document. That's brilliant. We're liking that. So that's one thing that you can do. I'm just going to change that back to the original blue, and I will change that back to white. If I thought that there was a chance that these white things would also, I'd like to change the colour of one and change them all. This is what I do. I select one. I add the white as a global colour. I make sure that that global colour is applied, and I go and apply that global colour to all of the other shapes. And then when I change, not by doing that, when I change the global colour for one of these shapes, I haven't been selected here. Being very awkward. Right, if I go and change that colour, again, it will change all of them. Still not a symbol. But all that global colour can do is change the colours. It can't change anything else. Like the shape. That's where symbols come in. So we will grab this one, which is our pin here. So we'll put map pin. And with it selected, just click create in the symbols panel. And now that one is a symbol. We know that one's a symbol and that these two are not symbols because by double clicking it and double click again and make some changes, it's only happening to that one. I'm going to undo that change. So we'll push these up out of the way. They're not copies of the symbol. You look at what we're looking at in this panel over here. That one's a symbol. These two, not symbol. They look the same. They are not the same. So we'll move that one over there and we will add a couple of more instances of the map pin. Now, not only if I change the colour in here, will all three change. So we'll make sure we've got the blue. Don't have to worry about using global colours now. If I change the colour by just clicking on a colour, it will change. But more importantly, I click on the background and scoot that in a bit, they are actually symbols now. So now I've got a nice kinked map pin. I don't know why I'd want a kinked map pin, but I've got a kinked map pin. So we don't really need these unkinked map pins anymore. And I've created things properly. Right, those map pins are probably a smidgen on the big side, but we'll go with it anyway. Right, I needed 7 of them. So let me just duplicate all of these. So we've got them 7. And one of them, let's say this one, needed to be black. That's simple enough. Select it, make it black. Oh no, didn't want them all black, just one black. If I take the sync option off, and make that one black, and then turn the sync back on. Don't forget to turn the sync back on. Now I've got an exception. But if I go in and I make another change, kink it the other way, it changes even though it's black. What I did was I added something to it. I made a change and told it don't synchronize this bit. And then I turned the synchronization back on. Okay, the black one was where we're going. That's hotel football. That is there. And then we've got these others. The first pin is Tesco's. Just having a look now, where's Tesco? Tesco's there. The second one is the Ford showroom, which is there. The third one is the chippy on the corner. Harry Ramsden's for the uninitiated. Number 4 is the car park for hotel football. which is not near Hotel Football, unfortunately. The hotel, it's about there. We need one for Old Trafford, which is there. And we need one for the Old Trafford car park, which is there. So there were my map pins. Now, I needed, obviously, numbers. I'm sure everybody here can add some text to something. So just get the text, put in 1, get it selected. Where have you gone? Oh, where's my text? Where's my text? Oh, he's not put the text there. Come on, come on, come on. Let's get some artistic text. Click. Let me put in 1. That's it. I obviously need to make that much bigger. I can see it. 64 looks about grand. And just put that with the pin. So that was the first one. That was the second one. And so forth. So that was simple enough, wasn't it? Right, the other thing that I did. Now what I'd be looking at doing with this is taking all of the pins and all of the labels and grouping them so I can turn them off. Because what I will need is the root. I need to put the root on here. Right, I need the pen tool. And I do not need to look at that, I can assure you. Oh my. Right, let's zoom in a little bit. Right, I'm starting out over here and I am drawing out with the pen tool. I do not want to link any of that. I just want to go along there and show them the route that they need to take, like that. It's not the best of colours, and then they need to turn around that corner. This one I'm sending them to the Hotel Football car park, and to get there they need to go up to those lights, turn down that road and go all the way up to there. That's the route. So get rid of the pen tool, but with this selected it's going to need editing slightly. I'm a little bit off at the bottom here, that's not great. I also need a different colour. That's why the pins were blue, because I wanted to get a nice bright red to work with that. Now it's red. There we go. It's going to need to be thicker than that, so I'm changing the stroke. And I can get that up to 8 quite happily. And now all I need to do is use the A key to get to this tool here, which is the node tool. And basically bend that so it fits the road better, like that. Quite how that kink can stay, but that would be better if it was actually on the road. Going around the corner, that is a roundabout, so let's have you not cutting across the middle. I can move that one in fractionally. That'll do, and let's move that down there a little bit. That's going to have to be bent a fraction up there. There we go. So I've put the route in there for the first one. That's the route if you're going to the car park. What if you're not going to the car park? What if you are dropping off? Well, I'm going to start naming these. So that is the Hotel Football car park. This is the map. And this is the pins. Right, I don't need that Hotel Football thingy anymore. I can get rid of that one. Or I could duplicate and edit. We like duplicating and editing. So I will copy, I know I won't, I will duplicate that. Leave that set to Hotel Football and turned off. Go to this one. This one is Hotel Football drop off. This is if you're dropping somebody off at the door with accessibility requirements. Totally different. You've got to go down the expressway, which is this one here. So don't do that thing. Do this thing here. Very easy to change that. All I need to do is drag this one back. Still going around the roundabout there, like that. But now you're going down the expressway here, like that. And Hotel Football is there. In fact, it's actually there. That's the drop-off point right there. So I'll need at this point to add a point to it, like that. So I get a kink at the end and pull that down. Perfectly done. Now we're on the expressway and it looks fabulous. So that is the route if you are dropping off. Are we following along? Excellent. Right, the third option is you're being brazen and you're not parking at Hotel Football. No, you're going to park at Old Trafford and cheat. They don't like you parking there, so you've been warned. Right, but it's pretty much that way. So I'm going to duplicate that one again. But this time, that's not Hotel Football drop-off. No, that is MUFC, Manchester United Football Club, N2 East Car Park. Snappily named, aren't they? It's very similar. You actually go exactly the same way. Apart from the kink at the end. You don't do the kink at the end. You need to go up to there and in there. So you actually need to finish up here. So I'm holding the shift key down and adding a point to add the kink at the end. And we'll put a slight bend on that. That's fine. Excellent. So we've now got 3 different routes, but only 1 map, which means we only need 1 set of pins. And that was why I did it that way. Then it needed to go out of here entirely because I needed it to be an A4 document. I needed instructions because I can't just send them that. And I needed a nice front cover. And I needed instructions at the back. The file I've opened here, Mike, doesn't have page 5 in it. I'm hoping the file you had page 5 in it.
It did.
Excellent. Can you automatically number the pins? Unfortunately, no. No, not in here. There are apps that you can automatically number the pins, but no. I'm having a think about that. Is there anything you could do? No, I don't think there is. Not right now. You could have put the number inside the symbol, but then you would have to have either detached or altered the sync for each one. So I decided not to bother. There were 7 pins. I just numbered them and left them at that. I worked on the principle. I don't think I would put more than 7 pins on a map. Otherwise, people get well overwhelmed. So I had this file like that. Now I think I'll switch files. I could probably do it without. Should I do it without? I'll take this one in and show you this. And then I'll put the extra stuff in. Right, so we have all of this in here. What I did was then group the lot. I created a group and I called it Map. Imaginative, I know. And I will save that file as map demo. Map demo. So I've got it saved and all I've done is copy it. Edit copy. And now let's go into Publisher. In Publisher, I started completely from scratch. I knew I wanted A4 because I wanted to print it. And printing's proved rather interesting this weekend, hasn't it, Mike?
It has.
Never again. Spawn of the devil, printers. So, new document. It's a print document. It's A4. It's not portrait. No. I'm also making sure I've got image placement policy embedded because I don't want to have to create a folder and put all of the images in it and all of that. I just want it there. I don't need facing pages because it's going to be PDF and or printed, in which case it doesn't matter. So we'll take that off. And I'm almost good to go. Margin wise, again, I don't think I'm going to need a margin of that size because I'm making it full bleed. But just because some of them are going to be printed, I would give myself a margin of about 15 millimeters, just for safety's sake on a printout. Having said that, I'd shrink it on a printout, so I actually don't think the margins matter at all on this one. If they didn't, and you didn't even want to see them, then just take include margins off, because it's never going to see the light of day in terms of being professionally printed. It's going to be a PDF. Right, way back when, I had something on my clipboard. So I'll paste that in. Obviously, it's huge. Huge. Did I mention huge? But I can just shrink that down like that. Now, it's not quite fitting, but I've decided I don't quite need all of this on the left-hand side. So I can pull that down and take it off the edge like that. I've got enough on there. What I do at this stage to tidy it up because once it's hanging off, I'm like, is that right? Use the vector crop. And if you use the vector crop, you can crop that into your A4 page and not worry about it. Excellent. Right, so that is my page 1. I can then put my extra elements on there. Just having a think about that. I had an idea there, but I'll steer away from it. Don't change the demo. Mid-demo, woman. Never ends well. Right, I need to put on it some instructions. So all I did was put a shape on the back there like that, left-hand side. Keyed it up like that. Can't quite remember where it went. I think it was just under there. And you'll see there's a slight difference between this one and the one I ended up with. But I then just put text in there. I had a key down this side here. So let's draw a box out like that. And all I did was literally put in 1, that was Tesco, and 2, that was the Ford showroom, and 3, what was 3? 3 was Harry Ramsden's. Ramsden's. Ooh, 4 would have been hotel, football, car park, and etc. So that was what I did. And I then duplicated that to get it in the right place. I could have done that, nothing to stop me doing that, back in Designer. That wouldn't have been a problem at all. I think I left it till I got it in here, but I might not have done. I can't remember exactly what I did with that. But the text would be going over there. And the other thing I did was take another text box like that, and I put it up there, and that was going to enable me. Let's get it right. Why are you not snapping to the top corner? The snap hates me. That had the title on it. So that's the embryonic stage. I'll now show you the finished file because you don't want to sit and watch me do it 3 times. But before I show you that, I will show you something clever. This one, let me put some text in there. Let's put a heading on that. You were hotel, football, car park. So remember we had 3 routes, which seemed like a grand idea at the time. Hotel, football, car park. But that's not the hotel, football, car park, is it? No, no, no. That's Manchester United. This is the hotel, football, car park right there. Wrong one showing. And I'm in Publisher, and the map was made in Designer. Not a problem. I don't even have to flick over to Designer. The Designer file was called map. That's it. And I can turn off the Manchester United car park and turn on the hotel, football, car park, which is there. I can now see that that pin, not quite exact, which is that pin there. This one. So I can move that. Remember, that started life in Designer. But now I'm in Publisher. I am not even in Designer mode. I am in Publisher mode, and I can still edit it. And I've been able to change the route, which is very important because I'm about to duplicate. I'm also thinking at this stage that that pin at United, that one there, could do with shifting. We'll put it there, but we will bring it to the front. Keep going. Bring it to the front. Where are you? Oh, it's not doing that because the map would be at the front, wouldn't it? Okay, we'll move it down there. We'll move it there so we can see it. I just need to see that going in. And all of that is the N2 car park. It's massive. Right, so I did the map like that so I could do this, which is go to my page, duplicate it. I now have page 2, which is not the hotel, football, car park. It's the hotel, football drop-off. And to get the right map at this point, all I need to do is go back into the map, tick the drop-off, lose the car park, it's in the right place. It would probably make sense pin-wise if I moved that pin. Hotel, football is there, but it could do with just seeing that kink at the end. And then I can duplicate again for page 3. This one is not hotel, football. This is the N2. East car park. Again, open up the map, put the tick in the Manchester United car park. We have a different map, and we've got 3 pages from one designer file. This is what the finished one looked like. So let's open the proper one. I think I actually called it Hotel Football Map. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? This is the finished product. Has it got 5 pages in? It has. So it's A4, remember, and it's going to be printed out like that. So that's the cover. This is the Hotel Football Car Park one, which goes right up to there with instructions. You'll see that Hotel Football is number 5. The car park is across the road, so I've put the instruction. The postcode for the car park is, and put that one in there. It's not the same as the hotel. Then there's the second page if you are dropping off at Hotel Football. And the third one if you are risking life and limb and going in N2. Finally, when you get there, you need to enter the foyer, go to the lift and press heaven for the heaven suite. And then you'll be having lunch with us. That's the idea. So that is a real document that I put together this week. It took so much less time than it would have done. I could actually have done all of that in Designer. I chose not to because now I've got Publisher, and I decided to do it properly in Publisher. That would enable me to repurpose as and when and if I need to. So that was my document this week. We have got a couple of printouts of that, I think, haven't we? I think we have somewhere. But I think the black and white, it was a long story involving a dead printer, don't ask.
Who's there?
There was incantations, wasn't there, with it? Printers are fine as long as you don't actually ever need to print with them. And the minute you need to print with them, they just throw a fit. This one, I'd put a new toner in 10 days ago, and the error message, toner empty. I'd printed like 3 sheets. The toner was not empty. Would the printer be told the toner wasn't empty? Oh, no. So I changed the toner, put a new one in. Toner empty. I put the original one back in. Toner empty. In the end, took a hammer to it. Managed to persuade it to print some labels, but I don't think it likes me anymore. Right, so that was that file this week. So Deborah's put, that was a good feature. So cool, can you use that in a project. Which one was that? Was that the colour one? There's symbols which enable you to change the shape, and document palettes with global colours that allow you to change the colour of things without it even being a symbol. The benefit of that is, so let me go back to my other file, if that was what you were talking about. Let's go get a blank page. With a global colour, did I put a global colour in here or was I in the other one? I was in the other one. So never mind that, let's go back over here. With global colours, you have the benefit of this. So I'm going to put in another artboard. There's an artboard so we can do something. Right, we can have shapes. Lots of lovely shapes. All different shapes. That's the key to this. They are all different shapes. So these could not be symbols because they're nothing alike. And this is one of the reasons that you would use that global colour malarkey. If I go and get all of these shapes, so in fact let's just get one, and go back to the swatches and go back to a document. We have blue and we have white. So I could put in there blue around the edge, white on the inside. And I can do that with all of them. So if I grab the whole lot and we go to blue and we go to white, the benefit of the global colour as opposed to a symbol. So a lot of people have said to me, why is there both and why do you use both? I use both in case I want to make changes in the future. Obviously symbols are the way to go with shapes, but global colours are the way to go with different things. So for branding purposes, I've got lots of different shapes and the client decides that the white's all very well, but they quite like yellow. And then I can go in here. I've got it selected. I double click on the white and I change the colour of that and all of the shapes change. All of them. So that is why the global colour is your friend. Ah, the document palette. Yeah, the document palette's not obvious because it's there and it's listed, but like a lot of stuff in the interface, it doesn't actually tell you what it is in terms of why you might want to create one. I must admit, I tend, unless it's a one-off document, I do tend to make it a system palette, which is why I've got so many system palettes. My rationale for doing that, so if we looked at that Blue Yeti one there, these were the colours for a presentation. And I was making a lot of assets for the presentation in Designer. And I had a document palette. The thing with a document palette is a document palette can contain a global colour. If you look at this one, there is an ability to add a colour, but there is no option to add a global colour. So sometimes there's a trade-off. I made the decision with this one to have a system-wide palette because, let me go back into Keynote and come out of Keynote and go back into Keynote. I'm actually using Keynote, that's the issue. Right, so here is a slide. Let's get a new slide, a new one of those, and give it a nice square. And some other nice shapes. Let's have lots of nice shapes. No, not text. We don't want text. Right, let's use these shapes here. Right, I might want to colour these based on the colours I've used in Designer. And nobody wants to go and do the colour dance, do they? There are ways to make the colour dance easier. Deborah, are you on a Mac? Let me know if you're on a Mac. One way to make the colour dance easier is, this is my palette over here. I have an application that I have just activated, and it gives me a screen capture for colour. So if I wanted that orange one, now that colour, quick up there on the left, is on my clipboard. So I could go into another application like Keynote, and I could hit the colour there. I could go and get the wheel. I could go down to the bottom and paste in the code, and I've got the colour that I've just picked up from Designer. It's not bad, but it's a little bit long-winded. Now, the application that I used to do that, I'm always forgetting which one it is. I think it's Colour, is it that one? That one, Colour Snapper. Colour Snapper. Right, yes, you're on a Mac. Colour Snapper is your friend. I think Colour Snapper is from the App Store. I'm hoping it's from the App Store. Let's have a look. Who can find it first? Colour, probably know you, Snapper. There we go. That's the one. Colour Snapper. Mike, can you find the price? It won't tell me the price because I've already bought it. It doesn't want me to know it's on offer if it's ever on offer. So I can't find the price of that, but it's not expensive and it's fabulous. It's fabulous. Right, the reason it is so fabulous, let me show you why it's so fabulous. When you're picking up colours, you only need one key to pick it up and another key to see it.
£8 3 pence.
£8 3 pence. Why on earth? No, they're from the App Store. No, don't buy it direct from them because it's Paddle and Paddle's activated.
Yes, we don't like
We
Paddle.
don't like Paddle. We don't like Paddle. I've set it up so I use Command Option Control and the square bracket. When I do that,
£8.99.
£8.99.
It's more expensive.
Yes, but you can get your iTunes vouchers and save 20%, so you're fine. Right, I've got the loop to be able to select stuff. So I've got my green now. If I want to see the colours I've selected, Command Option Control and right square bracket, and that brings up that. And through here I can decide what format to paste it. So I can paste it as 8-bit and decimal and hex and you name it, I can do it. So I tend to use generic hex, but it also means I can look through every colour I've ever selected with it. Literally every colour. That one there has a little star on it. That means that's a favourite. That's the blue of my desktop. And I favourited that because I was using it quite a bit to fill things in presentations. So that's just an aside for your colours. But there is a faster way than that, which is, I'm now back in Keynote. And I wanted to use that, the colours that I used for my Blue Yeti in here. That's what I wanted to do. Well, if I bring up the colours in my standard colour picker, you've got various views of colours in the standard colour picker. You will notice I have one here called Notion. I make custom icons for Notion, and these colours in here are the Notion colours. I click the drop down, there is the Blue Yeti one. I haven't bothered naming some of these, but all I would need to do with this is make sure it's selected and apply the colour. There we go. So that's why there is a trade-off between a document palette, which can contain global colours, and a system palette, which can't, but can be used in multiple applications. You can get applications that allow you to take a system palette and convert it and all kinds of other things. But that would be another entire course. So we'll leave that for another day. But yes, colours, your friend. Okay, let's go back into our presentation then. So let's get that out of the way first. Right, ooh, just flown round. What are you doing now? Right, let's go get that. So we were there. So we looked at Google Maps Styling Platform Wizard and why you care. That to me was a fantastic starting point, which saved me a ton of time because I didn't have to get rid of all of those labels. So definitely that's your friend to have a look. But it's the unboxing. Woo! We all like the unboxing, don't we? I am moving my laptop out of the way. I need to get all kinds of magic up. But before I do, it's sort of a bit of a spoiler, but not quite. Not quite. There's a reason for the unboxing. Who's heard of an Echo Spot? I love my Echo Spot. My Echo Spot is my alarm clock. It's a radio by the bed. I love it. Guess what? Mike should really do the music at that point that we always do. Where you go? Dun, 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 dun. Thank you, Mike. Death March. Yes, didn't end well. So I will come out and I will make sure that you can see my desktop through the webcam. There's the webcam. Let's get the output of the webcam. Let's get that on the right screen. Let's get some lights turned on. I have had my new toy sat here. Let me just get this the right size. Oh, why aren't you working? There we go. That's better. And I've not opened it. Oh, there's a cable there. What's that cable off? Oh, that's a cable off the digital recorder. That's what it is. That's because it's in the wrong place. Eee, let's bring you over. There you are. There's the desk. Backup microphone. I reckon that'll do it. Let's get some light on. And can I open my toy at last now, Mike?
Yes.
Way, I can open my toy. Right. Here is my toy. Ooh, I'm excited. I shouldn't get excited about having to replace toys, should I? But I am. Scissors. Right, let me in. This I ordered this 23rd, which was about last weekend, wasn't it? Rationale being new toys from Amazon this week. So let's have a look. Hopefully they've sent me the right thing. Oh, there we go. There it is. It's not exactly the same. Oh no, if you've got to replace a broken toy, go for a better one. This one is brand new. This one is an Echo Show 5. So size-wise, it's a little bit bigger than the one it's replacing, RIP. Graham's already got one. Graham's already got one for his sister.
I've seen it, yeah.
Right, can you go get the dead one, Mike? It's in front of the computer with the dead hard drive. Let's have a look. So I'll show you the difference in size between this and the other one.
Can I pop this?
If you like. Right, he's done the old popping of the... There was only one in it, you swine.
There's another one.
Oh, I'll do the other one then. Right, so it was the Echo Show 5. Now I've got an Echo Show. Let me show you the Echo Show. If I just whiz you round. That's the big Echo Show. There you go, look at that. Mike on holiday. Oh, look at the dust. I could do with dusting, couldn't I? Right, that's the... Why are you telling me about exercises in middle age? So that's the bigger one, but that's the older model now. This is the newer model. Right, that's the old one. Now the problem with it was the screen. It was giving me epileptic fits. It was... Oh, now you can see the screen. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? It's reflecting something. The screen was flickering like crazy. Absolutely flickering like crazy. So I decided I would take the opportunity to get a new one. Went for white because it's for the bedroom and the bedroom is white. And also decided I would go for something that wasn't circular, because although that one does do video, the Echo Spot, it doesn't really make sense that it just cuts off the top and bottom. So I decided I would go for this one. I must admit, didn't take much notice on its way here that it's fabric, and I'm not a big fan of fabric. So if I open that and show you the back of it, we'll see how long that stays white. I did go for white because it's in a bedroom, but it is fabric. They're obsessed with fabric these days, aren't they? So there it is. Let's put them side by side. Weight-wise, about the same. Obviously, the screen is much bigger on that one. Oh, there's Mike in the distance. You can just about see Mike. But I would say it worked better. I also noticed at the point that I was purchasing it, it had a killer feature as far as I was concerned, given where it was, which was in the bedroom. So if I just open this, let's take the plastic off it. There was one thing with it I was thinking, that's a bit ridiculous. So let's get it off and I'll show you why it was ridiculous. Awesome, liking that. I thought it was ridiculous that this one here, power at the back, quite low. This one also at the back, quite low. So you don't even see it from the top. But it's going to stick out of there, which means in addition to this width, it's going to need a little bit more for the cable. So let's get the cable out and to get that plugged in. The other thing that was ridiculous, I have no idea what that is actually for. In the middle, there was an extra port, which is that one there, which is the same as a Kindle charger. So it's a USB thing. I thought, fabulous, I can charge it from a block. You know, I can use it on a block. No, it says it's not for power, in which case I'm wondering what it is for. Don't know, it didn't say. One of these is you can plug in an extra speaker. To be honest, doesn't really need it. And then there's your power. So your power brick is the same as the other one. And in terms of it sticking out, so how's your sister liking it, Graham? Oh, the Spot, you got the Spot. I've had the Spot about 15 months. I do use it a lot, but it's the screen that's gone. I think with these Alexas, the ones with the screens do tend to go, but then it is on 24/7. So that's how much it would stick out and what kind of length you would need in terms of bedside table. Mine's 5 inches and it fits. So that's what I'll say with that. I'm assuming in here I've got things to try and all kinds of stuff in here. I'm assuming that somewhere it will tell me what that port's for. If anybody knows, do let me know, because I haven't got a clue. I love the Spot. Thing that got me was when I was trying to watch a video on it. It was big enough for a video. It was just it didn't suit the fact it was a circle. I wasn't looking at video on it often, and it was great as an alarm clock. However, the feature that this one does not have, that this one does have, which is killer for the bedroom, is this here is the camera, the little black spot there. On this one, it's at the top over there. You can just about make it out there. If I tilt that, you might see it a little bit better. There it is. You can just see it at the top. But this one, on the top of it, it has the usual mute and up and down volume, but it's also got a slider over this end. And if I slide the slider, you can see it goes orange. And when you look there, instead of a black spot, you have a white spot. So camera is on, camera is covered. Not off digitally, physically it is covered. It's in the bedroom. So I'm rather glad that that's there. So I think it's a decent upgrade. The most alarming thing to me that I did think was ridiculous, and this is still the price today, this one with the bigger screen is £79. You can get it cheaper than that, I will explain. This one that is not is £120. I can't work that out. This is an older model. This is brand new. Still can't work that out. Not at all sure. You can save £12.50 on this one by buying two. So basically you buy 2 and you get a reduction on the bill of £25, which means it's £12.50 cheaper, which if it's £79 means it's £67 something. Which I thought, given the fact that then it made it half the price of this one, I wouldn't bother replacing that because it's out of guarantee anyway. I'd just go for, well, I would say one of these, but obviously it would have been rude not to, so I got 2. Which is why I've got one to unbox and why there is already one by the bed. Mike's got his eye on it, is what I'll say. Mike's got his eye on it. But he's over there and I've got custody, so possession's 9/10 of the law and everything. So that's what that is. I will get this one set up, etc. One thing I will say, in addition to stuff about the Alexa, is this is the first one, well, not this one, obviously, because this is brand new, you've just seen it. Its twin is the first one that I have ever set up not on my airport network. I have had an airport network for the best part of over 10 years. And I got cranky with it, thinking there's something wrong with it. It would drop the connection and it was very slow. No amount of cajoling would persuade it otherwise. So I said to Mike, this is past its useful life. We need to upgrade. And we did an unboxing of the Linksys Velop system that arrived a while back. We have a couple more of those to install, so we might do that again yet. But we set that up. If you want to know what a Linksys Velop is, it's that. That is a Linksys Velop. It's a wireless network configuration. That is wireless. It's extending the wireless from downstairs, which is the inlet to the house of the broadband. We have cable broadband. The speed went from about 20 on a good day to 380. Yeah, it was worth doing. So there was definitely something wrong with it. Now, the other problem that I had when I was setting up all of these Alexa devices was it just took forever. It would argue, it wouldn't connect, it would fail, it would give you error messages, it never stopped. Eventually, with a bit of incantation and a sacrificial chicken, I could get them connected. But it was one job I hated setting them up because it was an absolute nightmare. With this one, when I set up the twin, connected first time, took about 10 seconds. So I think it was my airport network that was a demise. Sad, sad demise. Good night, Roger. So that was this week's unboxing. Looking forward to setting that up. Right, let's get rid of that and let's get back because we've got something for Graham. Oh, are you ready, Graham? Let's get the keyboard. Let's get back where we were. Yeah, so that was an Amazon Alexa. It's brand new. It's still on offer at the same price. So it was $79.99. You can get 2 and save £25, as you can see. Ordered 23rd of June. If you buy 1, you can go for the 5 monthly payments, but you can't do that if you buy 2. I don't know why they would do that. Surely the more you buy, the more you would need credit, but never mind. So I can highly recommend that. So far, so good. 1, it was dead easy to set up. 2, pitch quality is fantastic. Also, you know when you get a new toy and you find it can do things that the other one could probably have done, but you didn't actually look? Yeah, been doing that as well. But we do have something for Graham. So I've got to get my chat ready. Are you there, Graham? Are you ready? Because we have a tradition here. It is a long-standing tradition on MacBites live events and after hours that when we're done, we go and get something to eat. Over many, many events, we've discovered that Graham's favourite is his cherry bakewell. Sometimes more than 1 cherry bakewell. Sometimes quite a few cherry bakewells. I won't say he's careful with his cherry bakewells, but he has staff to look after said cherry bakewells. But we can proudly tonight announce, Graham, your cherry bakewells nowhere near what you really need. The fact is, you need to visit for what we up north know as a cherry bakewell. That is what you call a cherry bakewell. That cake, if you want to call it a cake, is 11.5 inches tall. Now, I can't eat a cherry bakewell, which is most unfortunate. So either you're going to have to visit Graham. This is the only answer. We could potentially get a slice and send it to you. But when Mike picked up a box that had one of the cakes in it, it weighed about 3 stone, didn't it? And would probably put on more weight than that. But it looked delicious, is all we'll say. That is what you call a cherry bakewell. Now, Graham, what are you having to eat tonight? Because if it was a cherry bakewell, can I ask if you're feeling a little bit deprived now you've seen that cherry bakewell? Oh, there was profiteroles as well, and there was a roulade. But that's the first time I've seen one of their huge cakes. They do carrot cake. They do, is it raspberry? The other one, raspberry cheesecake? Strawberry cheesecake. There was also that strawberry and white one that looked very nice. Raspberry, well, whatever that one was. There's mint cake, and there's what Mike has, which is...
You noticed I know them all.
Yes, you do, don't you? There's the Mars Attack, also known as a heart attack. And what?
Chocolate roulade.
And cookie dough. But that is the first time we've seen a cherry bakewell. So I always go and have a look. I don't know why, because I can't eat cake. That's full of gluten and I can't eat it. But when I saw it, I actually didn't take my phone with me. I was going past the cakes and I didn't take my phone. And I dashed back and I said to Mike, I need my phone. And he went, what for? I said, Graham's got to see this cake. Okay, he said. Then I came back with it. He went, oh, wow. So you had to see that, Graham. But tonight you had a fruit salad and a hot cross bun. Oh, no. Do you fancy a cherry bakewell now? I just say, do you fancy a cherry bakewell? I'm thinking we're going to have a MacBites meetup. So when you said, is it going to cost money? Well, the cake itself's about £4.60 a slice. But obviously to get from where you are to here might cost considerably more. So we might have to send a food parcel. I'm thinking a food parcel could be called for. But, you know, fruit salad, cherry bakewell? No. I think you're going to need to go for the cherry bakewell. Is that cream on top, Mike, or that fondanty stuff that's to die for?
I have no idea.
I think it could be the fondanty stuff. The fondanty stuff's nice. That I have had a little bit of, because that doesn't have any wheat flour in it. But pretty much everything else has got wheat flour in it. So I had to take a photo for you, Graham. You had to see that. That was a little treat tonight. Anyway, we are back next week. We are back Friday night, 9 o'clock, same time, same place. If you have questions or something you'd like to see in an app, you need to let us know. I have no idea what the unboxing will be. Depends what I decide to treat myself to this week. And next week, given the week I've had this week, it could prove to be expensive. I'll say no more than that. We never know. I never know what it'll be. Like this week, I had no idea that my Echo Spot was going to start flashing at me. Basically, the screen, check with your sister, Graham. The screen was flickering. It either looked like it was moving up and down fractionally or going on and off, but quite quickly. So it wasn't like, the screen's gone off, the screen's come back. It was quite quickly. But to the point, it was mesmerising. And I said to Mike, this isn't right. So I did the reset. I took the power out, did the whole thing, could not get it working right. And as luck would have it, this was the week they released their new model. Do you think these things are timed like Apple Kit? My Apple Kit always starts acting up when it senses there's new kit on the way. Or could it just be me? Not sure. Don't really care either. Have new toys to play with. Can't say fairer than that. What I'll need to do with that one is kind of work out some new things that I can do with it. There's a little booklet that comes with it, and it's always interesting to read it and find the things that you didn't know about. I did manage to set it to automatically turn on Popmaster every day, which I was pleased with. I was pleased with that. All I said to it was, set an alarm, 10:28 every weekday, Radio 2. And it set it, and it's worked. It's fabulous. Loving it, loving it. I think I might forego the fruit salad if I could eat a cake like that. I might too do that. Anyway, we've got a hugely busy weekend, as you've seen. We've got the hotel football extravaganza to sort out. And today we've had 2 extra dietaries and somebody who forgot to book, who wants to come. So we've had joy trying to organise it. Think Platfog, herd cats at the same time. And that's what we've been up to. So it's been a very stressful week. We intend to have a good weekend. We will have lots to tell you about next week, hopefully. We're hoping for good weather, and I don't know about where you are, but the weather is alarmingly warm where we are. So Mike's hoping that the place we're going, which is Hotel Football, have a roof suite. It's called Heaven. And if the weather is good, they can open the roof. And you can play football in there. Oh, that's Mike sorted then. But the weather's been shocking for the last month, and we thought there's no chance. So everybody keep your fingers crossed that we'll be able to actually do that. And if we do, there'll be photographs of it. So hopefully the photographs next week will be more exciting than the graveyard. But the graveyard was actually very nice, and the weather was nice too, wasn't it?
It was.
It was a lovely walk, and we learnt lots. There's lots of things that you walk past and you just have no clue of. And it made a nice difference to stop and hear a story about each one of them. So we enjoyed that. So here's to more of that next week. So for now, we're going to go and get something to eat. Sadly, we have no cake, Graham. But I do have fruit salad. So I might bother the fruit salad. We'll see. So it's good night from me.
It is good night from me.
And we're both going to see you next time. Good night, guys. Great to have you with us.